I'm live. I can only be live for like a second. My day was so busy today. Like, I had coffee with, and I had like a really good conversation. Oh no. Hi. I had coffee this morning with somebody and like a really good conversation, and then like as soon as I got home, I like had to do Bees Bake, and then like in the middle of Bees Bake, 21 Savage is British, and then so like as soon as I was done with like Bees Bake, I like filmed a video about that. And then I like ended up having to go somewhere really unexpectedly. It's just been so much. I didn't even have time to put up today's Hidden Figures video, so I'm gonna have to put up 2 Hidden Figures videos tomorrow, but we're gonna get both Hidden Figures videos. I just had to do this live because like you guys were like really requesting a live for this whole 21 Savage situation. And now that I've read the situation, because when I was live earlier, I was like, what are y'all talking about? But now that I've seen the situation, I'm just like, yo, this fucking situation. Hi, Real Trini. Hi, and I see everybody, and I see you guys. I see you guys, Michelle's daughter and the Leah and like everybody. Oh, what? 21 Crumpets? That was just a joke. I just feel like this whole situation is wild. Like, wild. And then it's just like, apparently people are like finding pictures of him in like all this shit, like really on some hiding in plain sight. Like my nigga was really hiding in plain sight. Now people are like, oh hey, here are some pictures of 21 Savage in London with a bunch of Jamaican family members. How did no one ever see these before? Like, you know, like wild, like it's wild. But I feel like I was talking about this online on like a forum, and I was just like, I feel like Black Americans are just so trusting. Like descendants of American chattel slavery, we've talked about this like a bunch of times now on the Black Americans on the web series. Like we're so trusting. We just really just accept anybody, and we just like give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and we just be like, okay, whatever, like it's cool, like it's totally fine, like yeah, whatever. And I feel like you have a lot of people that are basically like lying by omission and just like getting away with shit because we as Black Americans don't really ask, which is kind of like what I was saying in my 21 Crumpets like video, when I was like, in terms of like nowadays it's getting to the point where you have to ask, and then you're gonna get pushback against asking, because then people will be like, well, who are you to gatekeep blackness, and like, why are you asking all these questions and stuff? And then they say, well, you have to ask nowadays because people are getting away with these like lying, like lies by omission, where it's just like, well, I'm not gonna say anything about it, and I'm just gonna sort of like let people think what they want and assume what they want, which is a lie. Right? Like, if you fucking start dating a nigga and you don't expressly ask the nigga if he's married, and he is married, but he never says anything, and then you'd be like, nigga, you married? And then he'd be like, well, you know, you never asked me, so, like, technically I didn't lie. Like, no, that's a lie by omission. But that's on us as descendants of American chattel slavery, because now we're learning we have to ask these niggas if they're married. We have to ask them if they're foreign blacks, obviously, because you have people that are fucking getting over based off the strength of the assumption. I remember all these people that were surprised leaving me comments on my fucking LMA, on my LMA videos. There were so many people that were like, LMA's British, because they never, I know she does, like, they never watched the interview, right? They never like heard her talk. They never listened to any of her like monologues at the end of her songs. I know that's like a thing she likes to do. They only heard her sing in this accent or whatever, and they was just like, oh, okay, because like that's what we do, right? And we just we're like getting the wool pulled over our eyes like repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly, and then we turn around and we be like, what the fuck? Damn. Can y'all see me? Can y'all see me? I think y'all can see me now. The boy in blue, just like the boy in blue said, and just like a lot of y'all I've seen y'all saying, is like, if he had admitted it, it wouldn't be a problem. That's really how I feel too. Like, niggas love motherfucking Sade. Nobody has a problem with Sade. Nobody has an issue with somebody that's gonna be like, yeah, I was born like, and it's so easy to just be like, yeah, I was born in the UK. I mean, like I said, people are still like unsure if this is a true story or not a true story. It seems like it's a true story. Like I said, people are digging up pictures of him in London with people and stuff like that. So it's just like, it will be so easy to be like, yeah, I was born in the UK. I lived there till I was like 12 or 13, and then I came here. Cool. Awesome. And then I grew up in Atlanta. Okay. Oh, great. Wonderful. Like, nobody would care. I feel like the thing that really bothers us is the lie, like the lying. And then that's how we start getting into the, you know, the lying and the faking and the lying by omission. And that's, again, when we start getting into the like putting on and taking off and putting on and taking off and picking it up and putting it down and letting people. And remember, if you guys remember in my old Bruno Mars video, remember I said the exact same thing. I said Bruno Mars is not naive. He knows what people assume, because for the longest time, so many people were like, Bruno Mars is black. Bruno Mars is black. People just assumed, oh, he's black. He's from the Bronx and he has an afro. Like, he's black. And I said in my video then, I was like, I don't think Bruno Mars is naive. I don't think he has like ill intent, malicious or anything like that, but the road to hell is like paved with good intentions, as the saying goes. And you have these people that want these careers that just sort of let people assume whatever to get ahead so they can get that DACS support, which is a lie by omission. That's a lie. And I feel like that's morally fucked up. Like, that's wrong. I don't think that that's cool. Because I have people that, hi Kari, oh, you did super chat, thank you. Because I have people that's like, well, you know, the morality of ICE arresting him. I said, well, what about the morality of these people lying? What about the moral nature of people putting on and taking off our ethnicity like a coat whenever they feel like it and lying? And people are also acting like motherfucking 12 and 13 is not old enough to remember where you come from, okay? If this nigga came over here at 12 or 13 years old, that's not 12 or 13 months old. I'm sure he has memories of the UK. Like, I'm sure he has memories of London. Like y'all don't remember being 12? Y'all don't have memories of being 12 and 13? Like, that's a teenager? Like, y'all don't have memories of that? And he's 26 years old, which means if it was 12 or 13 years there, it's only been 13 or 14 years here. So that's just about even. He was not a child. Well, technically he was a child, yes. Let me not say that. But he was not an infant. He was not a baby. Like, so a lot of these, like, right, if he was 4, maybe, people are like, oh, he was a little kid that didn't have a choice in coming here. Like, he was a baby that like, he was motherfucking Moses that got wrapped up and sent down the motherfucking Nile. I don't think that's what happened. I don't think that's what happened to 21 Savage. Like, he got caught in a lie of omission, period. He got caught in a lie of omission, and he got away with it because Black Americans, descendants of American chattel slavery, are not discerning. We don't ask the hard questions. We don't run the motherfucking Carfax on these people. We just let them get away with it. We give them the benefit of the doubt. And that shit has been biting us in the motherfucking ass for a while now. And it seems like it's going to continue to do so until we wisen up. Really. And I really don't care about 21 Savage personally. Like, you're obviously not blocked, that guy from Texas, because I just saw your comment. Like, I don't have nothing against 21 Savage personally. Like, I really don't care. But I just feel like the lying of omission. And it's like, and again, the fact that he never said not one time seems deliberate. But you could talk so much about the 13 years from like 13 to 26 that was spent in Atlanta. But you can't talk about the 13 years, 0 to 13, that was like, quote unquote, spent in the UK. It seems like a glaring omission. It seems deliberate, right? Like I said I see you guys talking about, like, is he or isn't he? Like I said in my original video, there's like a little bit of confusion because like some people are saying, because his mother is from Dominica, not the Dominican Republic, not DR. Dominica is somewhere different. It's a different island. So, oh my God, come on. We have moderators. So like, get out of here with this shit. He's from Dominica. His mother is definitely from Dominica, for sure, definitely. And now some people are saying that he was born there And then some people are saying it's not that he was born there, it's that he was born in the UK. And he lived in the UK until he was like 12 or 13, and then he came here. So some people are saying like, oh no, that's because like Dominica was like owned by Britain, so there's like confusion. There's like confusion, but like ultimately what it boils down to is that prior to 2005, when he was 13 years old, he did not live here. And he never said anything and nobody knew. And now it's just now coming out just because he got arrested. And now people are like, oh my God, what the hell? Like, we had the wool pulled over our eyes. But like I said, a lot of that is on us as DACS, as Black Americans, because we let people get away with it. Like, we let people get away with it. We let them lie by omission. We don't ask. And then if we do ask, we get a little bit of pushback of who are you to gatekeep, and then we drop it. And then everybody's just sort of crowding under this umbrella. And in terms of us as descendants of American chattel slavery, we got to sort of start thinking about it. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that either. And as I keep saying, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. How are you blocked if I can see your comments? How are you blocked if I can see your comments? I'm being totally serious. How are you blocked if I can see your comments? How are you blocked if I can see your comments? So, right, you're not blocked if you're commenting. If, like, you're not blocked if you're commenting. Right. Everybody could see the comments, right? You're definitely not blocked. You're definitely not blocked. So, and what I just said, I feel like boils down to the crux of the issue. People trying to make this about, I don't know, some other stuff. People talk about some, well, he couldn't speak out. He couldn't speak out on it because, oh, if he's illegal, you know, he could have got deported, so he can't speak out and this and that. And I kind of feel like, how is that my problem? Maybe that's fucked up to say, but I do feel like, how is that my problem? How is that my problem? Gabrielle Union is a descendant of American chattel slavery. She's from, like, Nebraska. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I see you guys are making some stuff up. Like, oh, okay. Well, it looks like now you're blocked. Sorry, it looks like Richie just blocked you. So, and I'm gonna block you because I don't know who you are. I've never seen you before, and I think you're lying. So block, and now all of your random things that you're leaving are gone. Right? Like, people are getting blocked. Like, people are, like, you guys, it's like y'all want to be blocked. Like, you're drawing attention to yourselves, so let's just block you, give you what you want. So it's just like, I feel like ultimately at the end of the day, yes, rumors and lies on fleek. At the end of the day, what we're talking about is lies. We're talking about lies. We're talking about lies. Lies by omission. We're talking about people that sort of let descendants of American chattel slavery believe whatever. And like I've said before, this is something that we've seen historically happen. Like, and it's still happening. And it's still happening. Like, and it's still happening. Right. They always get blocked on non-Bees Bake chats. They know how to act right during Bees Bake, but then as soon as we do a random live, they don't know how to act. They can't act. Like, they don't know how to act anymore. Oh, you guys have Garcelle Beauvoir confused with Gabrielle Union. That's not... Garcelle Beauvoir is Fancy from the Jamie Foxx show. She's definitely Haitian. Gabrielle Union is a descendant of American chattel slavery from Nebraska. They are not. I know y'all think that all black people look alike, but they are not the same. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So I find this story to be really interesting. I'm sorry, Bouvet. You guys don't care pronounce shit. Sorry. I find this story to be more interesting than... Right, her name sounds French, right? Like, she's Haitian. It's not that surprising. I find this story to be just really more interesting more than anything else. I see people that are getting like really upset about this and like really hot and bothered and like under the up under the collar about it. Like I said, I don't really care. I don't have any type of like investment in like 21 Savage in his career. I guess if that's like your fave, you'd be upset. Like, but I just feel lies. The lying for me is what makes it an issue. The lying by omission. And again, the fact that it was like not spoken about at all up until it came out because of the arrest makes it seem like it's deliberate, which I can't. Like Kid Cudi, right? Everybody knows I love Kid Cudi. A Blaxican. right? It's known. It's out there. It's not a surprise, right? He's not out here pretending to be somebody that he's not, to be something that he's not. Like, it's out there. When I have to find out, especially if I have to like do some digging, like it's something that's been hidden, then that bears the question of, why are you hiding it? Why are you hiding it? So if you're hiding it, that means you have an awareness, right? If you're hiding it, that means you have an awareness of that you're doing something. You're doing something, right? Again, if you meet a nigga that he never volunteers that he's married, but he also never says anything about it, you're hiding it for a reason, you know? Like, you're playing around, you're playing games. So, and I also see just like a lot of like randomness going around of people talking about like niggas don't have birth certificates, like, oh, Black Americans. This is what I think about like this aspect of it. I think that people thought that like this 21 Savage thing was gonna happen, and like Black Americans and like descendants of American chattel slavery were gonna like rally around this nigga. But what you have happening is you have a lot of descendants of American chattel slavery that's like, oh, look at that. Like, niggas is getting exposed. Wow, that's really interesting. And so now you have people that are sort of coming up, with, well, Black Americans need to be concerned about this because like most of us don't have birth certificates. Do any of you really know somebody, a nigga in real life that doesn't have a birth certificate? Like, I'm really curious. Like, do y'all know people, Black Americans, descendants of American chattel slavery in real life, that don't have birth certificates? Like, where did this a rumor of niggas not having birth certificates all of a sudden come from? Like, now all of a sudden we don't have birth certificates. Now all of a sudden we don't have social security numbers. All of a sudden I know plenty of niggas that have been arrested and are on probation, and they definitely have birth certificates and social security numbers because they're damn sure in this motherfucking system. So all of a sudden it's like niggas don't have birth certificates, and descendants of American chattel slavery, Black Americans need to like be on the side of 21 Savage because we don't have this and we don't have that, and that's gonna be us next. And it's just like, but where? This is 2019. This is not 1919. Like, maybe our grandparents, okay, maybe, perhaps. But like, how many people do you know in real life that don't have a birth certificate or a social security number? Like, where did all this stuff, it's lover of all things Black, it's like really floating around. All this stuff is like all of a sudden. And passports, right? Passports. They love saying that Black Americans also don't have passports. Like, right, like this is more so a foreign Black issue, and they thought that this was something that descendants of American chattel slavery were going to rally around. And now that we're sort of just being like, is this really our problem? People are like, oh, Black Americans, it's going to become your problem. Y'all are going to get deported. But like, how though? Literally, like, how? Like, how? And where are we going to get deported to? They're just going to be like Africa and just like drop us off. Like, I'm really curious about how specifically this becomes the problem of a descendant of American chattel slavery. Like, I'm really curious. I'm curious because I see a lot of this chatter sort of floating around. What about first generation Black kids from immigrants? You're a motherfucking foreign Black, and we've had this conversation a million times. Hashtag BA Gang playlist, 35 videos. Go watch. If you're not a descendant of American chattel slavery, are you a descendant of American chattel slavery if your parents are foreign? Is that a hard question? Y'all lucky I can't zoom. Is that a hard question? They'd be like, oh, my parents were born in Ethiopia, but I was raised here. Am I a descendant of American chattel slavery? Nigga, are you? Do you really not know? Do you not know? Your confusion. Your confusion. It's like I was born here in the United States as a descendant of American chattel slavery. Like, I can trace my lineage back to a plantation in North Carolina. If I move to Haiti, do I become Haitian? No, it's not that hard, right? It's not that hard. Somebody said they're gonna send all of us to Nigeria. Right? Like, what are y'all talking about? That side of it, of people like, well, what if this and what if that? And like DACS need to like worry about this because this is gonna affect us. Like, how? How is it gonna affect us though? And who's out there fighting for descendants of American chattel slavery the way that they want us to fight for everybody else as well? I also find to be really, really interesting. Because when Black Americans say, who's going to stand by us, it becomes y'all are a bunch of lazy, good-for-nothing, slave rape babies that don't have no culture, and we don't fucking care about y'all. So it's interesting to me that we're now supposed to consider this to be our problem. Metaphysical zoom. Metaphysical zoom. So, live. That's what I think about that. I have an issue with the lying by omission. The lying by omission feels deliberate. Somebody living in another country until they're 12 or 13 means they clearly remember it. And the fact that it has never been mentioned, not once, until they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, makes me think that it was deliberate. The fact that people are saying that this needs to be the problem of descendants of American chattel slavery because, like, we too could be deported and, like, we don't have birth certificates and, like, we don't have social security numbers, like, as if we're not, like, citizens is weird. Like, we're native sons and daughters of this country. Like, we're citizens, we're from here, we were born here. This also, I feel like, plays into this larger thing of, like, we're all immigrants, everybody's an immigrant, this is everybody's problem. This shit ain't everybody's problem. Black Americans and Indigenous Americans and Native Americans, we could sit this one out. We could sit this one out. We can watch, we can observe from the sidelines. Like I said, I'm really not invested in it. Like, we could watch and be like, ooh, how's this gonna play out? Are they gonna deport this nigga? Like, what's gonna happen? But, like, we don't have to be invested in this. I'm sorry. And no one can convince. Like, why don't y'all go talk to the European Americans? Because, like, they probably would have more of a dog in this fight than us. Right? Yeah. So, lying by omission when you could have just said, yeah, I was born in the UK or I was born in Dominica or whatever, and I came here as a teenager. Cool. People trying to make this DACS problem when it ain't. Sure. People making it out like now all of a sudden DACS don't have birth certificates and shit. Weird. Yeah, really, really fucking interesting stuff. Really interesting stuff. And we've also been talking a lot about how especially foreign blacks come here and fight with native born blacks over resources and crumbs. But then it's like when you say that as well, it's an issue, right? There's a really good TED Talk called Do We Need More Immigrants? That specifically talks about how you have native populations in this country that are struggling, that have to fight with immigrants, which is a really interesting thing to think about. We have this whole frame of like, oh yeah, it's so wonderful, but it's like, let's really think about in terms of like our economics. How do we feel about that? It's sort of an interesting thing to think about. And this just all falls in line in what we've continuously been talking about for like 2 years now, of just like more examples popping up and like more examples popping up. The UK isn't a third world country. And somebody was like, he's not here illegally. His legal visa expired. He's not illegal. I was like, if his legal visa expired, then that means he's been here illegally. Like, what? Somebody was like, well, it's not like he chose to came here. He came here as a child, you know, like he didn't really have a choice. I was like, descendants of American chattel slavery didn't have a choice. So don't you pull that card with me. Like, it's really a belief that like descendants of American chattel slavery are supposed to be like invested in this problem. And this shit ain't our problem, right? And like the foreign blacks love to stick together so hard, and like the immigrants and shit, like stick together on this. Why do you even need us? Is like another really interesting aspect of it, right? I saw somebody else say online that like Black Americans can get locked up for nonviolent crimes like drug offenses, and then like not be able to work and like not be able to vote and be like victimized by the state, and it's totally fine. But then you have somebody that's like a quote unquote illegal immigrant that's like breaking the law, and they can like vote, like they can, well, not vote, sorry, not that one. They said they can like go to school and they can like do all these things because it's seen as like totally fine, which I also never thought about, which is an interesting point. It's just like it seems like there's some strengthening of the caste system to like keep Native Blacks on the bottom, and they want us to actively participate in this shit by like somehow making this shit our problem, like as if we're somehow going to get deported to like who knows, or like where are they going to deport me to? Deport me back to North Carolina? Okay, fine, cool, all right, you can send me back there, I wouldn't mind. Yes, that's a part of DACA that Obama did. So it's just like a lot of like really interesting stuff to think about. I mean, and I even said previously in other videos, I was like, if y'all are gonna like give people a first class ticket, like quote unquote, back to Africa with like money and like resources to like learn the languages and this and that, that could be something like to talk about for people that want it. But like outside of that, it's a weird thing. And like Martin Luther King Jr., who we Disneyfy up to the max as he was becoming more radicalized to the end of his life, like one of his quotes that he even said, this quote doesn't get around, is that he said, what the American Negro wants is nothing more or less than his birthright in this country. We want what other people, y'all could look this quote up, we want what other people receive, what white people receive upon birth, and what all other people receive upon entry to this country. That is all we want, and we want it here as our birthright. We don't want it in Africa, nor do we want it in some imaginary land. We want it here. It is our birthright. It is ours. And like that very simple fact seems to elude people at this point in time. And that is all we're talking about. And if you don't believe me, you can feel free to go look that quote up because it's 100% legit. So, that's all I got to say about that. That's it. Oh my goodness. As soon as I see those words, that means it's time to go. So I'm 95,000.